And I'll share the presentation if you all want to watch me in FigJam. I'll just be controlling the screen while other people present, or you can watch the screen itself. I'll share the screen itself. Give me 1 second and let me try to pull up the presentation for you. I'm so happy to have another year under our belt and welcome everybody to the year-end impact demo for TechFleet. We've got 5 years of a tradition of doing this, and this year is probably the most structured yet, because that was our whole theme of the year, was structure and quality improvements. So there's the presentation link in the chat, and I'll pin it just in case anybody wants to come back to it a little bit later. So we're going to go through as swiftly as we can and hold your attention and consideration through the whole thing, because we've got a lot to go over. But we are doing awards at the beginning, and the community voted to recognize others in the community. So that's the first year that we're doing this. We're going to take you through what happened in 2025 from an impact perspective. You'll hear from a lot of different people because we run this community together. So you won't just hear from me, and you'll hear from several people in the community that are showcasing the work that we're doing. And then you're going to hear from the program management apprentices that are working with me about what's next. So these are all the people in community that you'll hear from. And hello, if you've never met me before, I founded TechFleet 5 years ago from a LinkedIn post. It's a simple call to action. And here we are 5 years later, over 3,000 people have been trained in our org from all different types of training. We've had over 100 client-facing project phases, and we are on a mission to be the change that the work world needs for the future. We're evolving really every moment. We started as a grassroots community. We're now a nonprofit. We're a public charity. We have so many different types of people that are working alongside this mission together, and we couldn't do it without everyone. Community members, project coordinators, residents, the board, teachers, mentors, trainees, program managers. Y'all make this possible. We are the change together. We're doing this together. We have been now on this journey for 5 years, launching and growing and distributing the ownership and distributing the work and building inclusiveness to who is the one that makes the change in the community. And then we incorporated and we started scaling things. And this year we started scaling things even more, but not really focusing on growth, focusing on quality, improving our, growing the board of directors, being able to sustainably source TechFleet, and scaling volunteering, being able to distribute the ownership even more. And thank you. It takes a village. Nobody would be here without all of you, without every single one of you working together. So thank you. And before we get into it further, I'm going to pass it off to Dominic, because Dominic's going to present the Fleety Awards. This is our first year that we're doing Fleety Awards. You voted for your fellow community people, and now see the recognition that you all have given each other. Dominic, take it away.
Hi, everyone. I am here to present the inaugural Fleety Awards. So aptly named. Yes, please get excited. You know, please get pumped up for this. Yes. straight from the community, their opinions on who has been the best teammate, who has been the best service leader, who's been the best Agile coach. People had opinions, and we're going to reveal the results right now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to present is the Agile Coach Award. Please give it up once this ambulance passes. Please give it up for Abigail T, Rachel B, Diana M, Vina S, Amber A, Jonathan R, and Lori B. Now, keep in mind that the Agile coaching residency is relatively new in Tech Fleet. So these are some of the people who have been pioneering Agile coaching, inside of our projects. Please give them all a hand. Next, we have our biggest service leader award, which goes to, drum roll please, Hassan H, Diane C, Crystal P, Lucy K, Katarina B, Jonathan R, Azada H, Dominic B, I wonder who that is, Neha A, Mia L, and Chris R. Yes. Service leadership is a cornerstone of the work that we do. Please give it up for our service leaders. My cat is also wanting to help present. Everybody, this is Ace. Our next award is the Teammate Award. So for the Teammate Award, we have the following: Hassan H, Ray T, Abigail T, Ariel W, Maria G, Lucy K, Dominic B, Mumina K, Fahad A, Dragos D, Rachel B, Lori B, Siki H, Tomomi S. Congratulations to those receiving the Teammates Award for 2025. We appreciate you. And so, Project Coordinator of the Year, we're gonna go ahead and give a blanket shout out to the entire Project Coordinator team, because they deserve it, but we especially want to recognize Neha A, Perry M, Michelle S, Leah E, Mia K, Lindsay N, Amber A, Preeti A, Yelena F, TJ, Vina S, Lindsay, and what's it called when somebody takes home an award in every category? I don't know. We need to make up a sweep. Yes, we need to. So has somebody swept the awards this year? I'm sure somebody probably has. So our most impactful project this year was Science to People. Our best client, we're tied, actually. So once upon a time, that would be Jasmine and Dolores, and the Track Poly project, and that would be Deo. Congratulations to everyone. And I'm so glad that I got to present this at the top of the experience, just so people could be sure to be recognized for everything that they've done. It's been quite an impactful year. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Morgan.
Dominic, thanks for presenting that stuff. Y'all are incredible. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Y'all gave so much support to each other that it's so powerful to see. We also had the award for the best beans and noses meme for the year, which goes to these memes from the service leadership class. So if you haven't taken that class, you'll learn what it means in that class. And the best pet, my pet was excluded from voting. Bowie had to abstain from voting, but these pets won the Fleety for the best pet of the community. So now let's get into the celebration of what did we actually achieve? Preeti and Amber, I'll turn it over to you for the first part.
Some of the key numbers in the tech fleet training space for 2025 were 35 project training phases, 2,000 trainees registered as classmates, and 600 trainees on projects. And in the project coordination space, we streamlined using new tools and processes to reduce the time to start projects by increasing the coordination between the different coordinators, and intaking clients as a community, and reduce the recruiting time using video ask interviews, and remove the titles in the teams where we just have teammates instead of co-leads and apprentices, and worked on making smaller teams to increase the coordination among the different teammates. We actually, I think Amber is supposed to be doing these. We have the other slides, so I just was supposed to do the two slides which you showed me. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Amber,
sure.
I'm passing it on to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sure. In 2025, we have some impact outcomes. So we have more agilities and service leaders in the world. We also ship the products with consistency on training teams. Our strongest case studies for apprentice and colleagues so they can add to their CVs and portfolios. We have to see the client structure for project training. We have more qualified trainees in desired career. Yeah, here's the problem cast. So the problems we focused on in 2025, we identified these gaps and pain points. Teams are self-guided in decision-making, convoluted client relationships with teams, expectations are loosely set about agile teams. People end the project with a vague sense of accomplishment. Project starts get delayed. People delegate to others and form power dynamics. And in Q1, we launched Project Dashboard. We offer more visibility into projects, and we also streamlined the applications so these can save time and energy while applying for the projects. We also increased the knowledge sharing. We offer more awareness about the application process to keep it transparent. And we also improved the Agile training resources. We deepened the Agile training in preparation for team training. And we planned how to improve project training outcomes through modeling and structured onboarding. So right now it's more organized. So in Q2, we shared the language of success. We designed the future experience of training in skills and practices. We do continuous discovery for tech fleet experience, trying to understand the member needs and measure change. We also create behavior modeling during training, try to offer more user guide handbooks and templates for project training. And we also launched the Agile Coach residency programs. We did a pilot for Agile coaching team leadership development. Right now, it's apparently very successful. And we improve the client experience, trying to understand how to help clients get the most out of Tech Lead. And in Q3 and Q4, we piloted for measuring readiness, progress, and success. We're trying to guide Agile coaches in their skills and practices growth. We evolved the Agile Coach residency. We iterated on coaching training with the Agile Coach community. We increased the community volunteer involvement, trying to get the world involved in the mission to be the change. We also increased the cross-functional team dynamics, maximizing success for teammates to self-organize and own success. We also scaled for skills and practices, trying to teach the future leaders in service of tomorrow. So now I give it back to Morgan. You're muted, Morgan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. When you look at it on paper, it's pretty crazy to see how much work we have made. But what's the impact of that work? We're an impact-driven organization. We can't just do things incessantly without measuring our impact that we're making in the world. And part of that started with, we all need to speak the same language. We all need to share an understanding of what it takes to be a cross-functional, agile teammate. And so in 2025, we did a lot to build an infrastructure that was an information architecture of the components of what it takes to succeed on an agile team. It has very little to do with your skills to succeed. As a lot of you who are training in the community know this by now, I say it all the time. It has nothing to do with your skills. It has everything to do with the intangibles, the invisible components of what makes great teamwork together. So we tried to map that and define the relationships between those pieces of the puzzle, and applying that to documentation, coaching, onboarding. The experience that you all have today is built around this system of a shared language. But it's so hard to know how someone should succeed. It's even more convoluted in this day and age. What should I be focusing on? How do I know I'm on the right track? What do I need to do to be the person that I want to be? How should I work with others? How do I tell the story of what I learned? How do I stand out? How do I make sure I make a difference? None of that stuff has to do with your skills. Really great teamwork has to do with shared values, building a culture that you align in the values, the things that you care about together. You got to change the ways that you believe and behave as a team. Those things never stop being worked on. Those are what we call team practices. And those, in addition to your skills, are the things that make great team outcomes. So we spent the better part of the year building this system, documenting it, and applying it to everything. And here we have it. The full holistic picture of what it takes to be an agile teammate. Your beliefs and behavior, your skills, the activities that you are part of, the duties that you hold, the milestones that you work toward, your specializations, the things that you deliver, all of those are part of this system of language that you can use to tell a story about what you did and what value you bring to the world. So we applied that system to the user guide. We're working on readiness assessments. We've applied it to dashboards. We've applied it to the workshop templates. We've applied it to training and coaching, and we've applied it to onboarding. Everything you see now is using this system, this information architecture of what is team success. And we can use this to now start measuring your levels of experience, your levels of skill, your levels of leadership, your levels of project completion, your levels of belief and behavior. That's where it gets really concrete, where you be able to tell the story concretely of this is what I did, and this is what I learned, and this is how I grow. This is the value that I can bring to the table. It has nothing to do with my skills. With this framework, we can do so much. We have done so much. We've made so much impact. You see this day in, day out in the community. We now onboard teams faster because of this framework. We can coach people how to be a pure cross-functional team, to not be in a department, to wear different hats and float across different functions based on what you want to commit to and the shared outcome. We can train you on how to build that continuous agile life cycle that never stops. And what does that mean? And how do you do it? And how do you know you've finished? We can help you achieve value delivery incrementally as a team. And we can build language around this now. Everybody can speak that same language. We can and have built better expectations with clients. What does it mean when you're in a phase 2? What does it mean when you're in a phase 1? Well, now we know exactly what that means. And we can help people build concrete results. And we have this whole year using this information architecture. And that information architecture has led us to this overarching activity, really a monumental effort here to build not just a training, but a culture of agility, a culture of building spaces of empowered teams where teams don't focus on performance, they build trust and they organize themselves and they make sure that everybody's voice is input and that people can fail and people can take risks. And with those things, performance can happen. We can do much more together. This is the new model that we're building for the world. This is the change that you're all a part of. So we spent the better part of 2025 exploring how we should focus on building this culture, measuring the current levels of Agile on teams, learning about what you expect, exploring the biggest factors of outcomes, identifying the gaps, coaching people, building systems where we coach people and then others coach others to distribute that effort, and trying to model behavior. And the problems that we're trying to focus on are the Agile teamwork is hard. It's very convoluted. It's not really modeled in the world to the fullest extent. Everybody's conditioned on this waterfall way of work or the phased approach of work or focusing on performance. And so a lot of the work that you do in teamwork is departmentalized and it's guided by you alone. You don't know if you're on the right track as a teammate. Other people might be in dynamics of power over others, and conflict could go unresolved, and it could lead to less engagement and high abandonment, which is what happened in teams. So we made some pretty key changes to this through research and continuous discovery and working on it through collaboratively with a lot of different people. We started building systems to build closer connections with clients, reducing the time it takes to start projects, building smaller teams, getting rid of co-lead and apprentice titles was absolutely one of the biggest things that we did that made a huge impact. Building templates for all of you. My cat's tail is in the way. Building templates for all of you to learn how to do this for the first time. And having that Agile coaching system. All of that was something that we focused on as a system change in 2025. We have over 40 people that are now Agile coaches in this community. And I want to give a shout out to all of you. Literally all of you are leading the way forward. And those who are in the residency right now, you're going to be there soon. You're a part of this 40. You're about to go out and start Agile coaching yourself. We do the Agile coaching residency every 3 months. And we have to keep distributing the ownership and distributing the leadership. This is leadership development, my friends. Leadership development has nothing to do with building experience as a manager. It's about what you do when you're trying to inspire the lived experiences around people and around teams. And the moment that you decide or let others decide, that's what makes you a leader on an Agile team. And so the Agile coaches are now out in the community. You're on the call. Hello. Well done. You were a huge part of this outcome this year. You all were the ones who made this happen. And now I want to present the concrete numbers. What happened when we made all these changes? How did it change the results of our training? And how did it change the results of our teamwork? So let me have a drum roll. Let me see the drum roll emojis. Drum roll, please. 40% more shared ownership, meaning all the teammates, you're not an apprentice anymore, you're a teammate. All the teammates, no matter how much experience you have, feel more ownership. Teams are now 30% more cross-functional. They're not department-based. Teams are building psychological safety and service leadership more than ever. We ended the year with an 85 and 90% psychological safety rating and service leadership rating. And these things affect each other. The level of psychological safety and the level of service leadership affects your ownership. How you care is not based on how much resources your manager gives you, it's how much ownership you feel, how much stake you feel in the outcome. Everybody on the team shares those outcomes together. We measured so much impact in 6 months. This is just 6 months of program changes. Teams feel more prepared, way more satisfied, and they're leaving less. There's still a lot of things that happen outside of Tech Fleet, and there's a lot of things that happen inside Tech Fleet that could contribute to people leaving. But all that stuff has been improved for the better. People are giving us feedback that they feel more supported. They feel more aligned. They're setting better expectations before we begin projects because of all the changes that we made. Feeling more structure. They're knowing how they can contribute to work cross-functionally and be a cross-functional teammate. They're gaining confidence. They're building a shared sense of purpose. How many of you on the call felt this year? Raise your hand. I certainly felt this. Who else felt this? It's real. It's crazy to see the numbers like this. We've only just begun. We've only really had this going for 6 months. We have to keep it up as a system. Here's how the shared ownership changed. Cross-functionality has changed. You all might be wondering how we measure this. We measure it through surveys and rating scales. So it's called subjective self-reporting. And we're doing research analysis every quarter. And I'm happy to share the reports for anybody who wants to see the reports. We publish them publicly. But the levels here are absolutely mind-boggling. terms of what the possibilities are for this new model of work. We've been talking about this new model of work of like team empowerment all year. And now you see what happens when this system is in place with people that have never done this before. None of you have, maybe most of you have zero experience with any of this stuff, but it's not about your experience. Your experience doesn't help you succeed. This proves it. So we've pretty much proven that psychological safety is key. If we want to be the change and work together to be the change and build a new model for sharing leadership and collectively deciding, psychological safety is key. We have shown that this training increases levels of service leadership. People develop as service leaders. People that are leading in service to others' growth. That's what a service leader is. We can build a standard for this in the world outside of TechFleet. And you all are the change. You can go out there and be pioneers. We got to help you succeed in that and navigate all the challenges that come with that. That's our task for 2026. And now I'm going to turn it over to Vina. Vina,
Yeah,
go
thanks,
for it.
Morgan. So I will start by sharing how we model the behavior of agile cross-functional teamwork and to show teams that what really agile collaboration looks like. Next slide, please. So what we did in this phase, in this year, last year actually, we focused on helping teams work better together. We created easy to use templates for cross-functional activities and made sure expectations for training and onboarding were clearly documented. We also coach teams through these templates, helping them apply the skills and practices framework in real situations. And doing the way we track the progress to see how much they were growing in agile teamwork and collaboration. Next slides. So what's the problem today? Currently, most of our teammates come from school or past experience where work is done in a more traditional waterfall way. So everyone starts with slightly different ideas of what teamwork looks like. Living agile isn't something you can just read about. It takes coaching, reflections, and continuous learning. And since many teammates are self-guided, they are still figuring out whether they are really practicing agile the right way. Next slide. This slide shows how everything we do starts with the agile product and service development life cycle. It's the foundation of how we plan, discover, and deliver work. We begin with defining goals and success measures, then move into discovery, forming hypotheses, doing research, and analyzing what we learn. From there, we shape a vision, define the scope, and organize requirements into actionable tasks. And the great about this process is that we are always refining, planning, and improving as we go. Next slides, please. So this slide shows how each milestone in our agile process comes with specific team deliverables. During onboarding, we walked everyone through these deliverables so they could understand what to expect at each stage of the project. For example, we start with team icebreaker, RACI hats, RACI charts, and stakeholder interviews to build alignment. Then we move into empathy maps, personas, and journey maps to understand our users. As the project evolves, we create a vision board, roadmaps, user stories, and eventually prototypes and design systems. This helps the whole team see how their work connects and keeps everyone moving in sync throughout the project. Next slides, please. So each deliverables connect to real activities, practices, and workshops that helps team build the right skills. These training templates make it easy for cross-functional teams to learn, collaborate, and apply Agile in action. So everyone's aligned and moving together and knows exactly what to do or how to collaborate effectively. Next slide. So these templates really made a difference. They help teams to work together for the first time in a structured way, visual way. Instead of guessing what to do next, everyone could collaborate using the same framework, map out their tasks, and understand how their work fits into larger features and epics. It made teamwork feel clear, organized, and actually fun. That's it from me.
Thank you so much, Vina. And we'll turn it over to Julia to present how we have been working toward increasing community volunteer involvement. Julia, are you on the call?
Yep.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you. I feel like I need to say my whole name because I noticed there's a few Julias in the audience. Hi, everyone. I'm on the board. My name is Julia DiBari. Hi to other Julias around in the meeting. Yeah, so I've been working closely with Morgan on doing more volunteers. So these are people who are not on a project, but who want to help TechFleet grow and become successful. So reaching out to a wide community of people. And this has just started in second half of 2025, and it's definitely something we look to grow further in 2026. Thanks, Maureen. So what we're working on is developing systems so that people can have a sustainable volunteer time in TechFleet. So it's not like, oh, you have to work 40 hours a week, like we need you all the time. So we've broken up into different levels of volunteer based on the amount of time and effort you can put in at a time. We're also developing standard policies, just like there are for trainees. There is a handbook in a rough draft form on Gitbook already. You can check that out if you're interested. You can be both a volunteer and a project trainee. You can be just a volunteer and not on a project, and you can be just on a project as well. So there's no rules around what you can and can't do so far in TechFleet as long as you're going as a service leader. All right, so the current experience, especially since we just started, is it's very, people are isolated, don't know what's going on, but we do want to make sure that there are diverse perspectives that we can bring in to really keep the community grounded. There's a program volunteer team that's doing some excellent work working with Morgan. We're going to work on some other volunteer groups besides program managers, but this was our sort of pilot to get started. We also, those of us on the board are not as tied into what's going on in the community, and we thought volunteering could be a good way to sort of bring people together. And another reason we're really focusing on this for the next year is so we don't have basically Morgan doing everything and then a few people. I know that there was a lot of just awards that went out earlier, but it shouldn't rest on just a few people's shoulders to keep TechFleet going. We really need to spread that out and make sure that we can be a strong and fully growing community. So the way we're measuring success, and you heard some of this already, is similar things to projects in leadership development, participation and involvement, distributed ownership of work, and then retention of volunteers in TechFleet. We really want to make this a program that people feel satisfied and happy and learn new skills, or use their existing skills. You don't always have to learn new skills. If you just want to keep brushing up on stuff you already know, that's also welcome. But we really want to focus on this and make this a positive experience for everybody in TechFleet.
Julia, thanks for sharing. It's been awesome working with you, and here's to more of it.
Yeah.
Across the whole board.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I'm going to turn it back to Amber and Preeti, who are going to present how we've increased cross-functional team dynamics.
So to increase the training in the cross-functional team space, we started exploring what we would need in place to successfully train and onboard cross-functional teammates. So we started piloting a new program where we had just teammates and mentors instead of co-leads and apprentices, and started measuring progress to Agile coaching residents then teammates. Passing it on to Amber.
Yes. We identified several pain points and gaps from current experience. The first one is cross-functional teamwork requires practice and decision making. So without any preparation and start, the teamwork may really cause a lot of confusions and also some potential conflicts. And the second thing is that teammates have different mental models of teamwork. They have different definitions. They see they see differently, like how people distribute work and what they should take a responsibility. Should there be a leader? Someone will prefer everyone feels equal. So what we offered this year in 2025, in last year 2025, is trying to offer a common ground for everyone to share their ideas of what is teamwork, and they can make a agreement before starting working together. And the third one is living agile requires coaching, reflection, and active learning, which is learning progress that requires a time for them to achieve. It's not like you take 1 hour course and then you said, I'm ready for Agile. So that's why we offer a 3-week Agile onboarding. So it goes like step by step. So you learn one thing by one day, and steadily you know everything about Agile. And the last but not the least is teammates are self-guided in whether they are doing it in the proper way. It is good and bad. The bad thing is that at the beginning, it may be very chaotic, so no one knows what they're doing. But the good thing is that everyone will take the ownership of the teamwork. They feel they own the work, they are responsible for the work. So what we are doing is that to encourage them to take the ownership, but as well as prepare them to work as a team. So next is we also trying to create the measurement of success, a successful measurement. So there's several ways. The first is a kind of combination of objective and subjective measurement. So we can define skill and practice levels to determine success. And we can also offer people the opportunity and the understanding of their experience so they can really reflect on it. So what they can do is that they can speak to it and be able to teach it to others. They can also tell the story of their progress. All of these are means they really understand what had happened, and they can reflect on their experience and tell others what had happened. And the last is success is defined by individual peoples, and we should help people define their own definitions of success. I think that is the most important thing, is that everyone has different ideas about what they are looking for, or they're expecting for on-tech fleet and for teamwork. So we should help them to really understand that and help them to define the success of themselves. That's all.
Preeti, Amber, thank you so much. And we also worked on, when you do all this really convoluted work, how do you make sure that you tell a story after? How do you show what you did? So we work toward trying to help people not only document the components of the successful project work with all the deliverables and all the agile teamwork that you're building and all the leadership and all the self-organization, all the conflict you've resolved, to be able to document that in a successful way. And building training for not only project documentation for handoff from one phase to the next, but telling the story in a case study and being able to concretely show what you bring to the table as a person in the world, as a service leader in the world, because there's a lot of problems around that. There was a lot of varied outcomes in projects. I would argue that there's still varied outcomes, but it's less varied with this framework in place. But it's still varied. There's a lot of varied handoff outcomes. There's no standard procedure for handoff documentation, and it's outdated. Clients struggle to digest what we've produced from handoff documentation. They're not at the same level of technical prowess that some of our trainees are. And so they might look at it from a different point of view and struggle to digest what's going on and how they want to take action to it. And teammates are figuring out things on their own about how to perform the project work together that doesn't have to do with Agile itself. So we've been building a standardization system for how do you hand off to a team? How do you hand off to a client? How do you tell the story from a teammate perspective? What should you be including? And how do you actually format the presentation so that you can know how to tell the story? It's just a convoluted act in general, being able to tell a really great story in a case study. So we built training around not only how to tie those deliverables together to the parts of a component of a case study, but how to tell the story arc. Starting with the pain points in the world, starting with the opportunities in the team, what you explored, what assumptions we made, what we learned, how we overcome challenges. And the result isn't a polished perfection. It's just progress on a continuous timeline. So we have to help trainees tell that story as convoluted as it might be. So for us to measure success, we're continuing this year. We can measure the percentage of people who make case studies after projects. We can measure the percentage of projects who make tech fleet handoffs, because that's pretty low today. And we can measure the number of success stories and the number of case studies after project training. And we're going to continue that work this year. The work never stops, it just iterates over time. But I'm really happy to turn it over to the Track Poly team, Lucy and Afolabi, who are going to present their case study from Track Poly Phase 1. So take it away, folks.
Hi, everyone. Let me just share my screen for you all.
Yeah.
So hello, I'm Lucy here with Afolabi from Track Poly Phase 1, where we aim to help citizens hold politicians accountable. Today, we're going to introduce you to our team and the project, early assumptions, our journey, the challenges we faced, the outcomes, and next steps for Phase 2. All projects start with the team. We had me in project management, Afolabi and Manuri in product strategy, and Fahad, Irene, and Arya in user research. But ultimately, everyone was doing everything, as in every cross-functional team. Track Poly is in the nonprofit civic engagement sector. There would be a web platform and a mobile app. Our high-level goals for this project are to prevent corruption by promise tracking and discouraging misuse of funds, empower voters by providing clear voting information and engaging citizens, provide political information by offering political education, awareness, and objective news, connect politicians and constituents by enabling communication between politicians and citizens and tracking policy changes, ensure platform security by using blockchain and AI moderation to maintain a secure, safe, and tamper-proof platform. Here are some assumptions that we wanted to validate. We began with client intake assumptions that citizens lack access to key civic information, including election details, voter registration locations, policy discussions, their local representatives, and the promises those representatives made. From this, we created two personas, new voters and experienced voters. The third, blocked voters, we struggled to define. We decided to revisit this next sprint. We developed a UX research test plan and carried out competitive analysis. Based on client intake, we assumed there were no direct local competitors, so we studied similar platforms in the UK, US, Uganda, and Kenya. Our findings showed that existing platforms rarely provide clear information on elections, voting, or representatives. They present information in complex ways, struggle with consistent transparency metrics, rely heavily on external official data sources, face systemic election issues that they cannot control, and they require significant effort and resources to educate and mobilize a diverse population. But there was a problem. Both our team and the client found direct competitors in Nigeria independently. I'll pass it over to Afolabi to talk about our journey and the challenges we faced.
Thank you, Lucy. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Our journey began when we discovered direct local competitors during research, which made us reassess our differentiation and led to a pivot. We realized, okay, next slide. Okay, we realized our early narrow focus on voting and elections was no longer valid. This made us pause and shift to define our audiences through the lens of political experience and engagement, rather than just voting and election experience. This new direction would increase track police differentiation by emphasizing accountability and making civic actions easier. We confirmed this new direction with the client and updated the client intake and vision boards in FigJam. We kept what was relevant for the work we had previously done and adjusted the rest. We created 3 new personas, the newbies, representing young people with low political engagement, veterans who are older people that have been politically active, and advocates who represent people that aim to share facts with citizens. This can include journalists, political scientists, religious leaders, and community leaders. We also carried out a new UX research test plan, but with a whole new set of research questions and goals. We prioritized the question based on their risk and certainty level to reach the final primary and secondary questions. Next was creating problem statements. We generated and prioritized assumed problems for each persona, broke them into raw aspects and root causes using the 5 whys, formed refined and formal problem statements for each audience, defined user goals, needs, and consequences to avoid to create problem checklists, and produced user story statements. After coming up with our research questions during the UX research test plan, we chose surveys and user interviews as our research method. For the surveys, we researched demographics and cross-referenced with personas, developed intro scripts, demographic questions, and survey questions. We divided these questions into 3 categories, which are general politics, trust levels, and information and misinformation. For the interviews, we chose participants reflecting the segments of the population we had insights into from the survey. We asked some basic background questions and chose these 5 areas for our interview questions. Social media, which is where most respondents get information. Misinformation, because we wanted more information on how people reacted. AI, to know what people are looking for to determine whether an image is real or AI generated. Political information and politicians, to determine how engaged people are and what info they are looking for. Trust and safety, to know how safe citizens feel to share honest opinions about politicians. So the challenges we faced and how we overcame them, there's definitely no team without challenges. We grouped our challenges into 3 categories, which are team challenges, project challenges, and resource challenges. For the team challenges, the first challenge we faced was arranging meetings that suited a team spread across 7 time zones. We solved this through several live discussions, Let's Meet, Discord polls, and it took some time adjusting, but eventually we found days and times that most people could attend. Secondly, we faced the challenge of async work and collaboration. Some team members didn't know what needed to be done or where and how to contribute to the FigJam workspace. We solved this by firstly introducing task level Kanbans on each work page of FigJam instead of relying solely on the Kanban board on Notion. We also used Discord to highlight the work that needed to be done, whose input is needed, and directly link to those pages for easy access. This way, people could see what needed to be done on each page, who is doing what, where, and how they could contribute. For the project challenges, we faced issues with narrowing down the problem space. The initial scope was too broad, and it made it difficult to define a focused direction for track poly. We had problems like political misinformation, limited data, weak accountability, low civic awareness, and election confusion. Research helped narrow these specific challenges that the platform could realistically solve within the scope of phase one. The second challenge we faced for the project was personas. We had the challenge of fitting our catch-all persona, the citizens, into the vision and scope. This came from managing raw aspects for the problem statements that affected all personas. Also, we discovered the need for a new persona fitting in the age range between the newbies and the veterans. A lot of respondents and interviewees did not fit in either group, so we discussed creating a fourth persona. And for time for further research and analysis, we had a surprise in the last retro. Our 20 survey respondents exploded to 82. So even though phase one had officially ended, we resolved this with post-phase one research analysis, which is still currently ongoing. For the resource challenges, like many teams in Tech Fleet, we faced the great plague of abandonment. Some team members found jobs and were upfront about leaving. Some never turned up after the team took over from Agile coaches. Some informed us of personal circumstances, but never announced officially leaving. The second one, which is Agile coach availability, we were confused about their role after workshops. Are they supposed to be there for guidance and feedback or not? We tried to set up a workshop with one of the coaches, but they had other commitments, and we chose to keep moving as a team. And the next, which is diverse population and demographic data, we had questions like, how do we reach everyone? How do we get a sample accurately representing Nigerian citizens? Data was incomplete or difficult to find, and having a budget would have helped us with finding more diverse segments of the population. And team member availability. We had team members that had jobs, two people had jobs, one person moved internationally, and one teammate suddenly had accommodation issues. This limited the time and energy they could commit. Most of these challenges were solved by prioritizing and working as a cross-functional, self-organizing team. We also practiced a lot of servant leadership and psychological safety, which helped the team collaborate openly, share ideas freely, and stay aligned throughout the project. And now I'll hand back over to Lucy for outcomes and next steps.
Thank you, Afolabi. So what came out of all of this? We split MMP and MVP to reflect our 3 personas and catch-all audience. We created problem statements and user stories that fed into our values for each persona. Here are a few values that we chose. Help citizens make well-informed decisions to vote for positive change in their communities. Newbies, help young men decide how to vote based on facts. Veterans, help older women vote freely and safely. Help advocates share facts with citizens safely. After research, we realized we needed another persona that fit in the age range between newbies and veterans. There are plenty of people in this user group, and most of them won't be advocates. A new persona would affect many things: vision, scope, KPIs, problem statements, user stories. Too much to take on at the end of phase, so we're leaving it to next phase. These are our current research analysis insights from our survey. I'll outline a few from each section. General politics. Women are less likely to vote than men and feel less safe sharing political opinions publicly. Muslims are slightly less likely to vote than Christians. Lower income people are less likely to vote than those in middle and upper income brackets. Trust levels in sources of information, which were official government sources, traditional media, religious leaders, and social media. The most trusted source of political information is social media, with Twitter or X the most commonly mentioned. Older people aged 35 to 54 trust social media more than the young aged 18 to 34. Women trust all sources of information less than men. Information and misinformation. We asked about people's confidence levels, distinguishing trustworthy and reliable news from misinformation. Then we tested them with AI-generated and real images. Women and lower-income people are less confident. They were more likely to mistake AI for reality and to doubt the reality of actual photos. Older people were also more likely to doubt the reality of genuine photos. Muslims were more likely to correctly identify both AI-generated and real images. What's next? Since we added our survey research analysis insights a few days ago, all of this is subject to change. That's the nature of the work. This is fine. We came up with how might we questions. Some of these were, how might we help citizens discover Trackpoly? Due to the surprise discovery of direct competitors in Nigeria, we wondered why these platforms are not more well known and how could we make Trackpoly more discoverable and engaging? How might we explore the needs of other segments of the population? For example, people in rural areas and lower income women, both broadening our research and diving deeper next phase. There is a lot of work we would like to continue and refine and work we would like to begin. We want to carry on within the discovery and vision and scope milestones as we move into requirements and experience design. If you sign up for Trackpoly, we'll see you in phase 2. And I'll pass it back over to Morgan.
Oh my gosh. Great work. The momentum builds. I'm going to turn it back over to the community. So the next person to present is Lori from the team practices measurements team and the member experience team. Lori, do you want me to drive or do you want to share your screen?
Hey, I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Go for it.
All right. Awesome job, Trackpoly, that you are doing incredible work. That was really awesome to hear your progress and next steps. I appreciate the update. So as Morgan said, I have been a part of a couple of volunteer groups with Tech Fleet, looking at building practices and skills, and then looking at the member experience end to end. And this team has gone through quite a few pivots. We started as a couple of teams and for a member platform and AI bot, and we have combined and realized we had a lot of overlap in our research and realized it would be more efficient to work together. So it's been wonderful to have those teams join up. We've also had a residency program join the work. And then our practices and skills team that started is looking directly at building psychological safety. But we knew that all these other practices and skills were important to measure and build as well. So starting with the member experience team, we have been mapping the current customer experience for Tech Fleet members, exploring pain points, and brainstorming some strategies to improve the experience. So to start that out, we have some personas that we've developed for both current members and potential members. And I'm going to be sharing quite a few screenshots, but I have linked each of these in the slideshow presentation so you can dive a little deeper into these details. And we know that with current and potential members, we can also break that up into the different experiences and contexts people are coming from, whether they are career changers, recently graduated. There's a lot to consider. So speaking of a lot to consider, if you were a part of developing the CX map, can you please raise your hand or send some emojis? Because this has been so incredible to dive into with our team. So the customer experience map escalates very quickly. Even this that you're seeing on the screen right now is just a small slice. So this is looking at from when you're considering reading the user guide through starting to observe. And for those of you in Tech Fleet, you know, there's a lot more that comes after that with classes and team projects. So this is just a small bit of that experience. And all of these little shapes and paths you see are all the different cases and decisions that a member of Tech Fleet makes throughout their time with us. And so we wanted to see what those different paths look like. Where are there points where there might be abandonment? Those red sticky notes you see placed here, those are places our team has identified as possible pain points. So this will help us kind of visualize where we can step in and improve the experience, address some of those common pain points. And you know, as far as like working with the community on this and getting diverse perspectives, it was fascinating to me hearing where our experiences overlapped and where we kind of took different routes. And I feel that we could not make the CX map without the group of people that we have working together on it, just hearing all the different paths people take. So our practices measurement team, we are actually going to end up working alongside the member experience team as well. And the reason for that is this quote pulled from one of our stakeholder interviews. Team practices and measurement are the heart and soul of our practice. So what we want to see is that members are able to see their growth, measure their growth, reflect constantly throughout this whole map, this whole experience, that we want it fully integrated into being part of Tech Fleet, that you're not only able to grow because we know that's happening, but that you're able to share that story with others and really see the growth, like in some of those graphs that Morgan shared earlier in the presentation. So we're piloting skills and practices assessments, developing methods for peer reflection and self-reflection, and measuring progress through the Agile coaching residency and then with teammates. And many of you may have been a part of some of the team retros where you're as a team able to kind of reflect on how your team is working together. We're also going to be, we're working to develop more of an individual basis, being able to reflect on your own practices and skills. So what is the difference between skills and practices? Skills are things you can perform by yourself, while practices require interaction with people. You can become an expert in a skill, but a practice is something that you just continue to improve on. You don't become an expert in that. There's always room to grow in it. Skills require knowledge and theory. Practices require reflection and interactions. And skills are helpful for specific job functions, while practices are helpful for every job function. And so wherever field you end up in, okay, sorry, I was just making sure everyone can see my screen. All right, good, thanks. Yeah, so these are things, you know, part of why it's so important is because we know it's something that can enter into whatever field we go out into outside of Tech Fleet. These things are going to be applicable and helpful for building a team. So working on our stakeholder interviews, shout out Ana Maria made this incredible table. Again, check out the link to it. You might be able to use it for one of your research some of your research insights as well. So Ana Maria has organized the key patterns, some important quotes we pulled from our interviews, being able to make sure we are on the same page as far as what is Tech Fleet's mission and vision. How does building up practices and skills measurement benefit teams and individual members? We've looked at what's already in place and how often we can implement this practice in the future. We've talked about both high level and deep dive assessments. So thinking about maybe something specific you want to really focus on and kind of do a more detailed self-assessment. So we're looking at that as well. We are able to talk about potential obstacles with our stakeholders and places where we can come in and support our members. Some of the insights we gathered from our stakeholders was how they practice this themselves in their own experience, what has helped them reflect on a consistent basis, and how they can continue to be mindful and seek feedback. So we want to take some of those pieces that they found helpful and integrate it into our TechFleet community as well. Looking ahead, some of our priorities include bringing clarity to the member in TechFleet definition and how that practices and measurements, how those fit into our membership. So we want to be sure that this is also not just a one-time deal. Measuring skills and practices is going to become a cyclical part of TechFleet, that it never stops. Morgan says that often, the work never stops. So measure, plan, practice, reflect, adjust, and then measure, plan, practice, reflect, adjust, and continue to come back to that and continue to grow. We have already developed some self-assessments where we, in our Agile coaching residency, we've been able to measure readiness before getting started. This can help kind of assess your own confidence level and also to work towards developing an action plan, knowing how to prepare. We're also developing a way to measure your progress with practices and being able to reflect on growth in commitment, continuous growth, active listening, and again, to be able to support members in visualizing their growth and sharing that with others. Storyboards, we are in the process of working on these, which has turned out to be one of my favorite parts. I have to say that's been really interesting, not just to see where our current journey is right now, what that experience is right now, but to look ahead. So we started as a team with listing out, brainstorming different use cases that our storyboards could visualize, things like building practices and skills within individual projects or within a residency. And then within those, we also need to think about the different contexts. So what perspective this is being told from. Is it someone changing careers? Is it someone looking to upskill? That is going to affect their experience and what they bring to the onboarding or what they bring to a class. So here are a few of our storyboards from the team, and there are two parts to it. So the first part on top is the current state, and then down below, the future state. And the future state is where we felt like we could just keep working and working on these because it's where the sky's the limit. Let's get creative. Let's brainstorm some possible solutions. What is that going to look like? How is that going to change the way that person feels as they go through this journey? And so this is helping us enter into some of those pain points and get creative on how TechFleet can improve it and what that can do for the experience. So looking at accomplishing our goals, we really want to define the skill and practice level so we're able to determine success. And so making sure we've got kind of that shared definition and that will help us to show the growth that's happening. I'm a former teacher, so I come from a background of needing to define the things that we're learning and be able to show our progress, and being able to help members do that has been really rewarding. So we also not only want people to be able to talk about these practices and skills, but be able to teach it to others and to help others grow in it as well. You should be able to tell their story, and we're hoping that these assessments will be able to do that. I really believe they will. And having each person be able to define what success means to them. We all come into TechFleet with different goals, different things we want to grow in, different strengths we already have. So what does that success look like for you? And TechFleet wants to be a partner in that, to define the larger purpose, help you define your larger purpose through TechFleet and beyond TechFleet. I wanted to end our demo on a word cloud Ana Maria made from our stakeholder interviews. And the reason I want to end with this is, of course, we've got practices that came up a lot. But what stood out to me is seeing people almost as large as practices, growth, and team. We may think of growing and learning and the self-reflection, self-assessment as an individual journey. But what makes TechFleet, to me, what has made TechFleet special and stand out is that it's all done in community. That we are not doing this in a silo, that we are on teams, we are on Discord, giving advice, asking questions, sharing success. And so one of the other quotes that came out from our interviews, seeing others' growth encourages our own growth. We're like mirrors in that way. And so not only is tracking your growth a way for you to celebrate what you've done, but it's also a way to encourage growth in others. And that all comes back to service leadership that TechFleet is all about, is that we are wanting to support each other's growth, and being able to show that, that is a way that we'll be able to do that. So I'm really excited about where this team is headed and the work we've done so far. Thanks to everyone who has been a part of these teams, and we really look forward to sharing more in the future and seeing how you all do with your self-reflections. Thanks.
Lori, Lucy, Alpha Lobby, fantastic, fantastic job. My goodness, wow. And I'm just going to turn it over for a split second to me and then turn it over to the program management apprentices, the program managers who are working with me. We're about a team of 10 people, and they're in a residency to be program managers in TechFleet. Running everything that you see in this presentation takes a village. And so the village of 10 people are now learning how to manage programs. And program has a particular connotation in nonprofits, but it is a case in other types of companies too. Programs are the things that we offer to achieve the mission of being the change that the world needs for the future. So I'm going to turn it over to Abigail, and Abigail is going to present where are we going as a community. Abigail, do you want to share the screen, or do you want to share the screen? Up to you.
I'll just have you drive it.
Cool. Good.
Yeah, I'll just tell you next slide, if anything.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abigail. I'm part of the program management team, and I'll be presenting our 2026 roadmap. Next slide, please. So looking ahead to 2026, our roadmap is guided by 4 impact outcomes, and I'll tie in our Q1 initiatives for each. So first, we want to provide meaningful career-enhancing training. This means going beyond just technical skills, helping leaders of all levels gain practical, transferable leadership skills. In Q1, we'll explore new training opportunities for these members and scale our masterclasses in the Extension and Outreach program. We're also starting to measure the impact of these programs so that we can see what's really working. Second, we aim to become champions for empowered teamwork. This isn't just about teaching concepts, it's about helping members put them into practice. So in Q1, we'll pilot team practices measurements, as Lori mentioned earlier in the presentation, to track how members are applying what they learn, and we'll communicate the impact of our programs from 2025 to inspire more engagement. Third, we want to expand service leadership in our community. So by scaling the residency model and supporting community-led events, giving members more ways to lead and serve. And fourth, to sustain all of this, we need TechFleet to be sustainably resourced. So in Q1, we're piloting a paid membership model and evaluating its success. We're also supporting the BizOps team in communicating program value and preparing for sustainable funding. Next slide, please. So to achieve these impact outcomes, we've set concrete plans for 2026. So as mentioned in the previous slide, We'll start by introducing a membership model for community members. So this is more than just a revenue initiative. It allows members to invest in their growth and while helping TechFleet become sustainable, financially sustainable. In Q1, we'll pilot and evaluate this model to make sure it's delivering value for both members and the organization. We'll implement concrete measurements for skills and team practices. This will let members see their growth in real time and give us data to continuously improve our programs. We'll create a holistic experience for TechFleet members. This means thinking about the journey as a whole, from learning and training programs to participating in community events and collaborating on projects. In Q1, we're striving to refine project training and programs, making it more cohesive and meaningful. We'll increase community-driven collaboration by supporting community-led events and peer training or peer learning so members can actively engage, practice service leadership, and learn from one another. We'll form partnerships with outside organizations and bring in new ideas, perspectives, and expertise, helping us scale our programs and make them more impactful. And finally, we'll continue working with experts on training teams to ensure our programs for first-time leaders and experienced managers remain relevant and effective, scaling masterclasses and defining strategies for improving project training for leaders at all levels. So basically, in short, 2026 turns vision into action. Our Q1 initiatives laid a foundation for measurable impact, equipping members and empowering teams, expanding community leadership, and sustaining TechFleet. And that is all that I have for 2026 roadmap. Thank you so
Abigail,
much.
thank you so much. And last but not least, I am going to turn it over to Neha, who's going to present some of the plans that we have specifically for projects and class training this year.
Oh, thank you, Morgan. And I missed really a part of this presentation, but I am going to catch up on this. Just to introduce everybody out who's here, a little bit about myself. So I'm a serving board member, and I am a part of the project coordination team, and I'm super, super blessed with the kind of support I get with the entire team. They are proactive. They are amazing to work with. Really, the collaborative effort that we have been bringing in since, last year, I guess, in Q4 with all those changes, we have been moving forward really well with more transparency. With that being said, Morgan, can you move on to the next slide, please? Okay, so what we are doing right now, currently, we have a lot happening in the upcoming year, and we have everything planned out. The next slide that I'll show you would really give you a visual understanding of how the projects are planned out throughout the year. But just to give you an overall understanding of what we are opening. So we are going to be opening projects in a periodical basis, like 4 to 5 projects every 3 months, which would include the new client projects as well as, the returning clients as well. Phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4, they all will be opening up with all the roles like project management, product strategy, UX design, research, writing, and if there are 3 and 4 phases, then dev roles come in. And we are further streamlining the recruitment process, starting from applications release to onboarding within 4 to 6 weeks. So we are really working hard, all in collaboration with each other to get things in place. And also interview process streamlining. We've already started doing that. And if folks have applied to multiple projects, we are not interviewing them multiple times. A great, a move forward. And again, onboarding with more clarity. And the next slide will give you a visual representation of what's upcoming. So as you can see, the red blocks and chunks are where the projects release, and we have about 4 to 5, those in that time period. And the light yellow ones are where the new clients come in, and a lot of other master classes are opening up as well. Okay, so next slide. And this is the last part of our presentation today, our demo. So with our master classes and training, we are expanding teachers. If you are interested in teaching a class, hit us up, please. We need more folks in the community who can come up and teach. Okay, and we have many more classes in the pipeline coming up, and of course, new residencies. Morgan, I'm a little not aware of what is in the pipeline. probably the product requirements residency is in the pipeline. Okay. And we are also looking into asynchronous option that will just give more possibility of folks who are not within the time zone to be able to learn more and train more alongside with the cohort that we have, and introducing mentorship. Wow, so many things happening in this coming year in Tech Fleet. And this brings us to the end. The floor is open. Morgan, to you now. Thank you, everybody.
Village, thank you for helping me present and presenting with me. And I hope you all are inspired. Like, this just comes to show the power of a community working together, continuously improving. And we don't just teach Agile, we live Agile. We are incrementally delivering value and growth and progress, and we live that as much as we train it. So I would love to open the floor to questions, and anybody have a shout out or any type of reflection you want to give. Floor's open, just raise your hand and I'll type it in the chat too. But let's take some time to just reflect. How has Tech Fleet as a community, if you've been in Tech Fleet, how has that impacted your life? Let's start with that. How has that impacted your life in 2025?
I can talk. Okay, go ahead. Who's it?
No, it's okay. Neha, go ahead. Yeah.
I wouldn't say just 2025. I'm looking to, share my experience from the moment I started the board. So really grateful to the other members alongside me and who has supported and always there with decisions, whether right or wrong. We were not aware of, what's happening, kind of finding our way as a very new working board. So that was a great learning experience. And initially, when I joined Tech Fleet, the idea was to get into UX design. I eventually grew with understanding, with more strategic decisions, where more involvement within community, taking on more of the ownership and leadership roles. That kind of shifted my direction into more operations now. So it's a long shift and growth, and I feel much more confident as to how I was when I joined Tech Fleet, I'd say in 2023. So that's a bit about myself.
Being in service to the community has made me very grateful and has increased my gratitude, and it's really built my confidence. So thank you, community, for making me part of this. Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to read some of the messages in the chat too. So Felicia said, it's helped me to have a sense of purpose in work and training. Here. Lori said it helped her build confidence, and she's thankful for the supportive community. She's always learning so much. And Rachel said the past year that, this is what Rachel said. The last year, I was really, really involved in Tech Fleet and want to thank everybody who I worked with for helping me define what it is that I'm looking for and what it is that fills my cup. I love that. That's a great saying. Special shout out to all my Agile teammates. This is from Rachel. Science to people, most impactful project, and we independent. Yeah. And honestly, thank you all, community. Like, Rachel, thank you for working with me. Like, we worked alongside each other so much. And Evelyn, you said, you're new. I've gone through onboarding and will start observing. So far from what I've seen, this is what Evelyn said, I'm super excited knowing that I joined the right community to grow. You definitely came to the right place. It's not about perfection, it's just about progress together. Got to do it together. And Juliana said, I joined in 2025 and has helped me not feel alone in my career change journey into UX. Here. It's given me the opportunities to develop skills and deploy Agile methods and to learn alongside other people for great stimulating projects. It's totally built my confidence. It's enabled me to be able to take on new projects and tasks I never thought I could. And it has directly led to me being able to secure freelance work. That's awesome, Juliana. Congratulations. And I'm going to say,
Thank you.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It's been awesome working alongside you. Rachel, I'm going to say in TechFleet we trust, because it's not about me. Like, I'm not the only person who has enabled this whole thing to happen. Like, it literally took an entire village. So in the village we trust. And I love working with y'all. It's awesome. It's really awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to have started this community. And it's been past 5 years, I haven't felt like I've worked a day in my life in TechFleet while working in TechFleet. It's been awesome. Tamumi said, in 2023, TechFleet showed me what a team committed to one another's learning and growth can do for us. But it was that's really awesome. It was in 2025 that I felt how much we needed this. Yeah, it's not enough to have a shared vision and shared goals, whether nonprofit or startup. To commit to one another's growth affects how we showed up, how the work is done, how people outside of the TechFleet perspective, outside of TechFleet perceive us. Yeah. Well said. Well said. It's impacted me in huge ways. I've learned how to truly act and implement transferring ownership. The notion of doing everything yourself and then building systems that build other leaders around you. You all are leaders now. You've always been leaders. And it's just really awesome to experience that for me. Anybody else want to share on chat or come off mute too? Feel free to share in voice. He mentioned in chat joining TechFleet in 2023. Since then, it's been golden. I love how it didn't and doesn't feel as though I stepped into an ant pile. Yeah, it's got to be a space of the opposite of competition and performance. You know what I mean? To be a team that is empowered to work together to solve the problems together. You can't be an angry ant pile. That's our new model of work. That's what we're working toward. I love how we're thrown into it with no life jackets. It really stretches you. My leadership skills are growing, and this is the only beginning. Well said. Hear, hear. Jonathan said, since joining TechFleet, I'm so appreciative of how my teammates have inspired me and the levels of exposure to service leadership and I've received, and to do better as I continue to practice and grow in leadership. Hear, hear. Hear, hear. And can you help me pronounce your name, Onakoya? Can you help me pronounce that correctly?
I guess I can help him. I invited him to the team. So his name is Onakoya. It's a Nigerian name. Yeah, Onakoya. Yeah.
Or you can better still use Eniola. I'm Eniola.
Thanks for inviting Onakoya in. And so Onakoya said, I'm new here. From all these good things I'm hearing, I know that I'm in the right place. Hear, hear. Who wants to come off mute and share in voice? How has TechFleet impacted you in 2025? What's been life in 2025 for you in TechFleet?
I would say that TechFleet has completely changed my perception of myself and what I'm capable of. A few months before I joined, I would never have thought that I could lead a team or facilitate a workshop or present to a client. And these are all things I've been doing.
Yeah. Well said. And it's been awesome to like lead alongside you, Lucy. And Alex had posed another question. What do you dream of in 2026 for TechFleet? What do you all think? If you could do anything in the world, what would you want this community to work on together? Rachel said vibe coding.
Can you hear me? I'm at the library.
Yeah, I can hear. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the reason why I'm suggesting vibe coding is because I feel like that's the one thing that I'm seeing is adjusting and changing, like the UX position, like what we're going to do with clients, what we're going to do in-house. And I would love to, I don't know anything about vibe coding or how to actually use it in an effective and useful way. That would be an awesome class, actually. Like how to use vibe coding to prototype, or how do you actually use it so that it doesn't have like terrible wireframes, or how it can assist us rather than harm us, you know, because that's always the big question that people have is that. Anyway, that's just another like technical thing that I think could be really cool to integrate in 2026.
Yeah. Alongside team-based problem solving and agile teamwork and service leadership and self-organization and all the things that are a part of the new model of work, alongside all of that, yeah, to solve problems, we definitely need to have the tools and the guidance that you all can introduce to each other to make that team-based problem solving happen. What else? Who else has thoughts? Feel free to share. It's blue sky brainstorming idea moment.
I'd say a dream that I have for TechFleet for 2026, or years from 2026. I would like to kind of have the community come together in person, like take it off of the remote and meet with community members, whether near in your own local community. I think it'll be really great to meet people and work together in person and just expand more in our relationships that way. That's my dream for TechFleet.
I want that to happen so badly. I think it's so crucial. We were born online. We were born in the middle of the pandemic. And I would love to see the community work on that. Absolutely.
I was just going to say what Spencer wrote. We actually had for Science to People an in real life coffee session. We were 5 in total, and it was freaking awesome. It was so much fun, and it's so cool to see people in person and be able to like hug them, and also be able to see how tall everybody actually is. And we had like a team meeting together, and we problem solved. Like a big problem happened as we were all together. So we were able to actually immediately respond together, which was cool. But yeah, also TechFleet conference.
I would love to make that happen too. Yeah. We would need to make Problem Cat an actual live mascot if we did a conference. I would vote for Problem Cat in real life. What else? What else do you all dream of? You are the ones with the reins as members of this community, and what you dream of we can make happen. And what do you think? What do you think we should be focusing on in 2026? I would love, one thing I would really love is to expand beyond just UX and product projects. I'd love to be able to help solve more kinds of problems than just the experience or program problems. And that might be a tall order, might not be this year, but team-based problem solving is end-to-end experience design. Doesn't have to be just digital. In fact, a lot of it is not just digital, it's a mix between all of them. So I would love to be able to tackle more kinds of problems together with the clients that we partner with. Yeah, we've been in the ways of the corporate sponsorship. You mentioned that. That's a really great idea, and I think that the board has been discussing about ways that we can kind of like approach that strategically, in terms of like partner orgs and other things. You saw that on the map for this year. So that probably will happen in a lot of different ways, and we're always going to be iterating on that, obviously. So I think the first opportunity for us to be able to do that, there are several kinds that I'll just share what we've talked about before. Partnering with development communities to, we've tried that before, it's been hard, but here's a new day and age in TechFleet in 2026. So partnering with development communities that can have peers join teams that are specifically focused on technical stuff. Partnering with communities that have experienced people, like seniors and managers and fractional executives, to come and work with training teams. Not be the answer to the teamwork, but to work alongside you as service leaders. And partner orgs that can support our mission in a lot of ways. Pay for and like financially support by sponsoring, or sponsoring by like helping you all use tools that are beneficial to you as a service leader and an Agilist. Lots of different possibilities. And if you, as a person, want to get involved on the nonprofit level, we have board member committees, and we have volunteer positions that open as the board opens them. And we're trying to build that stuff. But you can get involved in the community side of things. You can get involved in teaching. You can get involved in the board side of things. You could be a volunteer of TechFleet. You can be a resident of TechFleet and learn all the different types of things like Agile coaching and program management, and service leadership is coming. Once we can scale teaching beyond me, we will have classes that expand the horizon beyond what I'm teaching. So portfolio class, that was taught by Steven Steiner at one point in time. I'd love to be able to like make that happen with the program managers to bring that back. Case study class, resume, whatever, portfolio case study, resume, all that stuff is important. So yeah, I think that the plan this year is to scale the systems of teaching so that it can sustain itself at scale. And then with that, all different types of classes open up in TechFleet. Whatever you can dream of, we have a teaching system for, including data analysis and like other things that people have mentioned before that we just don't have the capacity for right now. We don't have the scope of curriculum for it. And obviously that's different than team-based problem solving and collaboration and service leadership, but it's still valuable for us to be able to offer it to members. So if anybody on the call wants to teach, hello, here I am. Come see me, email me. And Alex, you posed a really great question. I don't know if the community knows much about the membership so far, because we're looking to publicly kind of give people all the details. But it's a good question to pose early stage community. We would love to hear your thoughts on the model of people being able to be a member and get mentorship and practices measurements and readiness assessments and all the tools and templates and all the stuff that comes with you being able to grow as a service leader for life. What do you think about the idea of that as a measure to help scale TechFleet's success? Oh, Alex, no. Sorry. Sorry if I was talking over you. Can't hear you. While the audio kinks are trying to be figured out, does anybody have any thoughts that you all want to share? Honest thoughts, first reactions. What do you think?
Hey, Morgan. So what would that look like, a membership plan?
Yeah, we are going to try to figure that out together. But the essence is, as a member, you're a member of TechFleet, you can belong in membership of TechFleet for life. And it comes with the opportunity for you to professionally grow and get all the support services and offerings to grow as a service leader. Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'll just mention, so as Morgan mentioned, the membership is still, working out what we would actually offer, but the idea is that TechFleet has been totally volunteer run for many years, and in order to really provide more programming and have more consistency and support our growth and sustainability, we actually do need to have some income. And to combine that with what does it mean to actually deliver kind of a product to our membership that is member driven and that we all benefit from as members, paying into the experience of being a member and then getting all the benefits of membership, and many more things that we haven't done so far, but we want to do in the community. Maybe a conference is part of that. And it does mean, a real shift, because for so long, TechFleet has been just, done with no money involved except for master classes. And so it's a bit different of a thing, and can be anxiety producing to be like, oh my gosh, what will we do if there's money involved? And how would it work for paying? And a lot of people feel a lot of anxiety about money and paying stuff. So we want to make sure that we're going to offer something that is incredibly valuable. And we've put so much effort in the last, especially year, in redesigning our program process to be way more training heavy. Because if some of you may not have been here, but in the early days of TechFleet, you got in a project and it was just all right, no training, just figure it out. And now we offer much more training, and hopefully even more. And then what will it be like to kind of be in a collective where it's kind of collectively owned? I'll say it's a nonprofit, so no one owns it, but the experience of it is really run by the same people who are the supporters of it. And yeah, Rachel, good point about grants. Grants are very hard to get right now. And especially if you have not had any money, that you've demonstrated your fiscal responsibility. So definitely we will be starting with membership as a way to show that we're able to be fiscally prudent and responsible, et cetera, and then look for grants to subsidize that and make sure that we can offer things like scholarships and all the things that will make it possible for us to continue to offer what we're doing now and grow. And so we're gonna look for ambassadors for TechFleet who are gonna help to be like, this is really great and valuable, and I hope that folks who are here would consider doing that. And Mia asks, we don't know the exact details, but I'll say this, that I feel pretty clear that if we make training be part of the membership, like you need to pay to be a member, to be a trainee, that all the people who are currently in TechFleet will be grandfathered in so that you will not have to be a member, but we hope you'll still be a member, because we hope that the value we're going to offer, that when I say we, I mean all of us, are going to offer is going to be worth it. But yeah, we wouldn't, as we make this change, it would apply for the training side to only folks who are coming in new and not people who've already been doing work on projects, especially during times when we didn't have all the membership offerings.
And in addition to that, we're trying to bring all this conversation to you all, with you all, in true build in public form. So we're looking to do that a lot in January and February. And you know us, if you've been in this community for a while, you've worked in this community for a while, you know that we don't do things behind the scenes for very long. But we're going to bring this all into the forum with public feedback sessions and any other types of things. Rachel, that's a good question. How many people have dropped out because they got jobs? I think that we have an opportunity on the program management side to start tracking nuanced figures like that. And we're working on that with the infrastructure team and the program management team this year. And we have plans for being able to like collect those metrics, which is pretty challenging from a technology standpoint, collect them in a system where it's not just relying on a human, and then showcase them. So those are one of the things that's one of the things that I think is a great opportunity. The project is going to come with a lot of requirements gathering that we're working on right now. So if you want to be involved in all of this amazing stuff, like I said before, you can be a volunteer of TechFleet. We have a volunteer openings channel. Anybody who applied to the research ops volunteer group, that's coming. Had to get my bearings in 2026 with Julia, but we're opening things all the time on a regular basis for groups of volunteers and different types of volunteers. So the infrastructure group is a volunteer group that's working on technical infrastructure of TechFleet. And we have another client intake volunteer group that's got to start up again. And there's lots of different types of ways that you can be a volunteer of TechFleet itself, be a voluntary worker, in addition to project training. And we use the same types of templates and Agile teamwork. We're still cross-functional teams on the volunteer side of TechFleet as well, because we live Agile, we don't just teach it. So look out for that stuff. And Spencer, I see your question. Did you ever fix the project operations post-retro fill-out survey? That I started doing in a new survey. So that's fixed in a new survey. And it's going out every quarter. But that was all the measurements that I showed before. All those like amazing improvements are coming from that survey that I built that we're sending out every quarter. So if you're, I'm going to make the pitch again. If you're interested in learning program management, you can be a program management apprentice starting in February, because we're going to run it every 3 months. And you can learn this stuff. Alex, thanks for joining. Thanks for having the discussion. All right, y'all. We are at time. I hope that you all feel as accomplished as I certainly do. And I really feel like we all did this together this past year. It was definitely not a solo effort. And thank you. Thanks for being alongside with everybody and serving everybody's growth. And if you're new in the community, welcome in. This is how we do. We do it together. Happy to have you all in 2026. Bye for now. See you in observing. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.